Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Bottom left hand corner got Meyara starting as the orange Zerg. Up left hand corner got Double starting as the green Protoss. Both of these guys are 0-1. Having not seen Double's game, I think I'm going to favor Meyara. As a reminder from the previous round, I actually had to look it up. Played Yakub, and now that series came back to my mind. This is going to be on Radiant, by the way, larger macro map, which I believe is also going to make me favor Meyara, because I think Meyara has some pretty solid macro, actually, when he has Zerging it up. Really, we should actually maybe change the word macroing to Zerging, just period. So you have your micro and you have your Zerging, right? I think that makes sense. Anyway. PvZ, ever since this last ASL finals, has gotten really wild. And it feels like the meta has not settled, and it is the Wild West around 4-hatch, 5-hatch Zerg play. Double was thinking about sending that probe out. I think he's going to open up Gateway first, as he's not... Maybe he was flirting with the Forge and then opted to draw that probe back and is instead going to open Gateway first here. In the meantime, Overlord queued up for Meyara. Let's go ahead and see if he... Yeah, he is in fact going to go Overpool. It looks like that's become the more popular thing. I don't feel like Overpools is important on these larger maps, honestly. And I'm wondering if the map makers were even trying to encourage Zerg out of it. I think Sulky was doing it just out of flat safety. And maybe to get some early Zerglings to deny scouting. But it feels like ever since Sulky has been playing a little bit more Overpool specific, which is actually crazy now that I think Soma opened up a variety of openers. But anyway, on the larger map set, I feel like on the smaller map set, like Metropolis, a lot... Oh, never mind. Forge opener regardless for Double. Maybe you misclicked that initial probe, because oftentimes you'll try to double scout with your initial probe to see what kind of build order you're going up against in order to confirm whether you can drop that early Nexus or not. But here, well, he's gonna get lucky, I will say, because his probe is going the correct direction. Overlord is not going to get caught, but he is going to be able to make his way down and see that hatchery in the lower mutation stage. And should drop a cannon. Well, actually, dropped his Nexus before he even had... Wow, that was brave. He dropped that Nexus before he had any scouting information. There's the cannon. The cannon a little bit further back. More often than not, you'll see a cannon along that edge. But initial Zerglings are produced, getting some... Now Double's got the second issue, which is keeping that probe alive against those 4 drones. It looks like he's going to try to track down this drone's positioning to get confirmation on the 3rd base. Gateway dropping down, no second cannon out of Double. Instead, just gonna go straight macro. And it looks like we are having gas before 3rd base. Double able to sneak back in and confirm it. I think this is actually an aspect. Now this is becoming not just more popular, but more an aspect of the Zerg build orders these days. Mostly, I think if you're doing it pure Soma style, to have that gas in place to get a little bit of a fairly fast layer, and to have the option to either... And having that extra gas lets you... Well, with that, we'll see if this turns into a Hydralisk Den very, very quickly. And 973, the Zerglings, or at least some form of Hydra pressure. Whenever your Protoss are in the dark like this, more often than not, I've seen Protoss just straight up go for a Hydralisk bust and maybe settle for a contain otherwise. But we do have a tech delay here from Meyara. Now, yeah, I want to see how this turns out. I feel like Hasuleauge actually is kind of a good metric. It's a good marker waterline as far as what is the meta going on as far as standard. The 4 Zerglings at the front with an Overlord, by the way, first Zealot queued up. One problem with going Forge first for Protoss is when you lose that first probe, it is a long time before you get any sort of additional information at all, because you need Zealots either to push out or you need that Corsair fairly rapidly to make its way out on the map. Additional Overlord in the air. Now I want to see if Meyara... So Lair is still morphing. It looks like he is going to go... I think this is going to go Spire into 4-hatch. For some reason, I felt like there should be more drone... Okay, there they are. It's like they felt there should be more drones at this stage. Especially the way Meyara plays. He likes going very, very drone heavy. Anyway, Stargate about halfway finished. +1 weapons is just queuing up as well. And a second gas for Double being plopped down opens up the option for High Templar type. More often than not, what Protoss are doing these days with that is getting High Templar for Psystorm. Citadel of Adun alongside this fairly rapidly. So rather than additional gateway, very quick Citadel of Adun. A Zergling running up. How did that die? Did it die to the Zealot? Doesn't look like it. Looks like it took a... wandered in, got a far cannon shot and backed out. Meyara is droning heavily, by the way. Is plopping down the Spire. There's the 4th hatchery. Now we'll see if this turns into 5 hatchery. And if we see over a Hydralistan and Overlord speed as well. We do have Zergling speed being upgraded. I think the Overlord speed option after the Scourge, or in the midst of Scourge, is oftentimes the indicator that it's more Soma style these days rather than kind of more standard 5-hatch Hydra sort of Zerg play. Anyway, Meyara, yeah, is dropping the Hydralistan. More Zerg, I think Zerg have been misinterpreting what Soma was doing, but they have been kind of capitalizing on one aspect of it, and one aspect is dropping that Hydralistan and showing the Spire. But the other aspect is once the Scourge are produced, this is good timing for Meyara on those Scourge as well, where double does not feel comfortable. Looks like I think this is going to be more of a macro play, because Meyara is dropping that creep colony in the space of this. But the other aspect of this is fast Overlord speed, a 5th hatch, looks like we have a 5th hatch, but also trying to build and hit a timing around the 7:15 to 8:15, about in that minute. Just stack a whole bunch of Hydralisks towards the front, more or less to try to hit that timing where Protoss are thinking about going for additional gateways. We do have a 2nd gateway in the corner, some photon cannons dropping just to be sure. I think Protoss have been trying to adjust to it by going a little bit earlier here, so this is 6:30 gateway drop. We do have a lot of Hydralisks being constructed. Now here's the thing, with this amount of Hydralisks off 5 hatcheries, in many instances this turns into a victory. Because especially off Forge first, because you just don't have enough units on the front, and then because you've invested in a lot of these cannons, oftentimes there's not enough minerals that are sitting down, and Zerg can just keep pumping out the Hydralisk. However, Meyara, even though he's got Hydralisk speed completed, interesting, went for speed instead of range first, actually. Psystorm and +1 weapons also upgrading. Is tacking on that 2nd gas. He's instead opting to go 5-hatch defensive play in the space of this. 6 Zealots running across the map. They do have that +1 weapons. But I feel like this style of play, that style of play in particular, what it is particularly strong against is the 2-gate, or sorry, the 2-base Protoss play. I think it's meant to really hurt 2-base Protoss play. And those Zealots just getting swarmed. But yeah, getting a few Zergling kills. Are they gonna... Ooh, nice little egg block. Yeah, I'm gonna get rejected. And that was a little bit of supply off Meyara, but nothing that wasn't willing to lose. Hydralisks need to be careful. Did I miss? Maybe it was range first. No, there's range queued up. I was about to say, I'm surprised he went speed instead of range and then didn't go for an aggression on the front. Anyway, 2 additional gateways, adding in the High Templar quads. Ace in the holes right here with the Psystorm, which is now going to complete. We also have the robotic facility to get observers. I do like that double, when he recognized he wasn't going to get anything out of this, he drew those Zealots back instead of committing them. So kudos to him. A lot of a lot of Protoss players, for whatever reason, they're like, you're dead to me. Just get in that natural. No matter what's happening, you need to be there and just sacrifice yourself for me. It's more like a Zerg play. Anyway, Zealots marching back out in greater numbers, by the way, as Double's making his way out. I kind of like this aspect. So gonna check the front, or at least keep it occupied, but Meyara has a massive amount of Hydralisks. And actually, if turns and groups them, he should be able to wipe out these 8 Zealots pretty easily. Double holding, however. Is he gonna drop that 12 o'clock? Yeah, the Hydralisks engage. Ooh, a little bit of bad troop movement here from Meyara. The Zealots now on retreat. And the Hydralisks pursuing. 12 o'clock is in fact getting planted. The Zealots getting chased down towards that natural expansion. High Templar folding their way out. And the High Templar have a good amount of energy to engage this, so these Hydralisks might be moving to their demise. But a big... Honestly, Meyara didn't do a lot of dodging there, and that was a big whiff of a Psystorm. Double missed a huge opportunity. I don't know if that was bad luck or bad aim. I will say this is working out to Double's favor as he's pushing the Hydralisks out of position. He's kept his worker count relatively close, and that 3rd base is coming online. Meyara is going to be on 3 bases, but he has not made movements towards a 4th as of yet. He only has the Overlords sitting back there. Doubles managed to get a pretty solid chunk of supply and push Meyara back. Meyara doesn't have option on Contain. Does have +1 weapons, which is something, but Double does have that +1 armor in the space of this. Does he have double Forge running? Lurker Tech just finishing up. Trying to find the second Forge. It looked like that was all off 1 Forge. So really prioritizing those upgrades and making sure that he was hitting those. The first Observer fanning out. We have the 2 Corsair just sitting bottom right. All of the Hydrals piling into the 6 o'clock for some reason. A little bit concerned about an attack this direction. The probes are easily going to be able to walk up to the 12 o'clock, and now Meyara, his next fight is going to be over. It looks like the Corsair, 1 Corsair was wiped out by some Scourge. The additional Corsair going to get brushed back, but not before I think they're aware that that bottom right-hand base is in play. And I'm wondering if this is going to be the future of ZVP, is moving the fight more towards the battle over the Zerg 4th. Because and it's almost turning into ZVT in an aspect where we have a bunch of Zealots streaming down this direction, by the way, and Meyara completely out of position with Hydralisk and Lurker. That's certainly going to should force a cancellation if Meyara does not want to lose 300 minerals. Dragoons marching their way mid-map. It looks like they're pressing towards the 6 o'clock. The Lurkers are a bit out of position, and they're not in large numbers right this second. But Meyara checking what he believes to be the 3rd and pulling out, and Double's going to be able to slot in underneath. This could go either way, honestly, and I think the difference is going to be the Psy Storms. It looks like Double has eyes on Meyara's army. Good Psy Storm right there. Another great Psy Storm to follow it up, really thinning the herd. The Lurker's getting caught, and Meyara just completely caught with his pants down. Wasn't able to track the army. He's trying to get some value out of what's left, and charging into the 12 o'clock is able to clear these cannons very rapidly. This is without +2 weapons. That's actually impressive, but I think the Psy Storm is going to clean this up. He is trying to focus that Nexus to get something, and he's not going to get anything. He's going to get a little bit of damage on that Nexus and nothing else, and is going to have to draw back. So not only was the bottom right denied, but Meyara lost huge amounts of troops. Looks like a single Lurker is hanging out here. It's marked for death. Surrounded in enemy territory. Instead, he's going to try the near side expansion. Might be a little bit easier to defend, rather going for the greedier play of the bottom right-hand double gas. Meyara regrouping, but Double not going to miss a beat. Going to continue to press this. +2 weapons is going to finish for Meyara in the midst of this attack. But as these Hydralisks are pushed back into this choke, if there's Psy Storm to spare, which it looks like there is, he's going to have trouble with this. There's not enough Lurkers, honestly. We have some reinforcements coming from the rear. They're cleaned up very, very quickly. And Meyara gonna GG. Wow, nothing went right for Meyara in that game. Primarily the troop movement, getting caught in no man's land, in the beautiful Psy Storms from Double in that engagement, carrying Double to victory. Game 1 in Double's favor. We move on to Game 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for listening.